Okay guys, I'm joined today, well I'm actually joining Mike Ross in his Tonecam Studios in Brighton. How are you doing, Mike?
I am well, thank you, Will. It's good to see you, and I can't wait to tell you all about this new album I've done.
Yep, we're socially distancing, as you can see. We're a good 6 foot apart. Yeah, we're here to have a chat about Clovis Limit Part 2. It's due for release October the 30th. October the 30th. I mean, I've had a sneak peek of this, or sneak listen, and it's a fabulous album, and that's what we're going to try and do today, is have a chat about each of the tracks, and just see where they came from, really.
I mean, I guess what I wanted to say very quickly was just the idea for the album as a whole. You know, the Clovis Limit Part 2 is this continuation of a bunch of songs I wrote. I wrote about 25 songs altogether. First lot came out on Clovis 1. They were the ones that were kind of suitable to be recorded in Nashville with an Americana band. And then I had all these rockers that I'd written, and some of those came out on the Mahogany Drift album, RHR, and then the rest of them I saved for this album. So there's a continuation in the song because they were written side by side within a couple of days of each other.
The main difference between Clovis Limit Part 1 and Part 2 is the style of music. It's certainly, it seems to be a different direction, but still a continuation of a theme.
The themes are there, yeah. The themes behind the songs. I can't speak for other artists, but for me, I write what I see and I write what I feel, and I write sometimes it's inspired on what I've been listening to as well. And I listen to lots of different music. You know, I listen to Hank Williams, I listen to AC/DC, I listen to Government Mule, I listen to Graham Parsons, I listen to the James Gang. You know, I listen to the Black Crowes and Stones, and so I have this. I hold my music in quite a sort of wide stretch, you know, and there are themes amongst all of those, and it confuses the hell out of my audience.
It keeps people guessing, which is a good thing, though.
Well, I guess, I mean, you know, maybe this is the only way I can do it. It's the only way I've done it, you know. But actually, the big thing with this is seeing how successful Mahogany Drift was, and that, you know, being instantly accepted as southern rock, jam rock, whatever you want to call it. I'd never really believed that people would let me get away with making a record like that, you know, but going to Ramblin' Man, playing at Ramblin' Man, seeing who was on there, you know, seeing the reaction of all these people watching Government Mule jam with Charlie Starr, and thinking, well, you know, I've been doing that stuff since I was 16. So I just kind of took the cap off it, you know, and really in the making of this album as a whole, I really kind of brought to the front all of my years of experience of making music like this.
And your southern rock.
My southern rock.
You want to get out your
right,
system.
yeah, it's right there.
Cut it through the middle, it says southern rock.
Southern rock, exactly. Well, we were talking, made a few references to things sounding like churchy, you know, gospel-y and churchy, yeah. And that's southern rock too, you know. And I mean, I'm not a devout Christian. In fact, I don't practice any religion, but I believe in a spiritual connection, and the music that speaks to me the most like that is that southern rock, you know. It's related to Irish folk music, it's related to you know, African spirituals. It does it all for me.
So you kick off the album with a track called Thanks a Lot. Explain that, please. Tell us why that was the first song on the album, and also obviously it's a very interesting track with very different avenues throughout the actual track itself.
Like a little rock opera. I mean, let's plug the guitar in. Well, Thanks a Lot. It's kind of paying homage to the Young Brothers, really.
It's just a full-on start to an album.
Well, so there's Malcolm Young's part. And then you've got the Angus part, and he's good. And I love it, and it's a groove, but it doesn't stay there.
No, the listener will be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, there's a few changes.
Well, you know, a couple of verses and choruses, and it drops to a power ridge riff, you know.
I mean, this is a real full-on first track that's just gonna, I guess, wake people up from the start. You haven't got time to sort of relax and get into the album. It's just like, this is gonna slap you in the face. Deal with it.
Now this is like, you have to listen now. This is
Stop what you're doing.
I need your attention.
Stop what you're doing. Turn up to 11 and just relax.
And the lyric is that as well. You know,
Yeah.
something I am also, or I have allowed myself, or maybe I've been experiencing more when I was writing the lyrics for this, is anger. You know, frustration and anger. Because I wrote these lyrics, you know, post Brexit, post everything sort of starting to, all these cracks starting to appear in society, and I don't mind what your politics are, really, you know, good for you, but stuff isn't right. You know, it doesn't matter where you're sitting and who you're blaming. Stuff's not right, and I'm angry about that, and I'm pissed off about that. To be fair, I'm frustrated, and although I may not like actively talk about that, there's an undercurrent of that frustration in these lyrics. But really, Thanks a Lot is a song about a relationship ending. So, you know, there's a big relationship that's ended for the UK in the last 4 years.
Tell you the truth. When I think
None of your business. Again, it's a rocker. It's not in no way a slowed down. You don't take your foot off the gas.
No, it's a banger, isn't it? Yeah, the first 3 tracks on the album, they're all, you know, bang, bang, bang. None of your business. It does have a specific kind of type of person in mind. You know, there's a guy that's a know-it-all, and it doesn't matter what you do, he always seems to know the better way of doing it. You know,
everybody knows.
There's a suggestion that and they're not suggestions. You know, you should have done it like this. You should have done it like that. So fellas over there, hands in the air, wants his sympathy sandwich. You know, waving to. He hasn't got a clue now. He's really trying to get your attention. But when you speak to him, he's not making any sense. Speaking in tongues, fingers and thumbs. You know, he's trying to get your attention. But when he's got your attention, he's got nothing to say. He's gobbledygook.
Yeah.
And there's a political thing going on there, and there's a relationship theme as well. And then big bang. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. They're none of your business. What I'm doing is none of your business.
But again, the beat, the tempo is really sort of in your face, pounding, and it's again, like you say, from Thanks a Lot, where you've been lifted and dropped and lifted again, and it's like you say, ended suddenly after 3.5 minutes. And then you get hit with this. It's like, what's going on here?
Once a sympathy sandwich, waving to, hasn't a clue. Now he's playing a tambourine, speaking in tongue, fingers and thumbs. Thinks he's talking my language, playing with snakes and I'm making mistakes. Thinks he's gonna get down with me. Well, it's none of your business, just leave me alone. Don't think you didn't notice it's all about business and none of your own. Let me in, let me out. Panic isn't making you down. Fingers got burned, tide has turned. Maybe it's time to get real with me. Feeling a change, taking the blame, making a bad decision, thinking that he understands me, talking his trouble and not in my name. Well, it's none of your business, just leave things alone. Don't think you didn't know this is all about business and none of your own. None of your business. None of your business. None of your business. It's all about business and none of your own. Fellas gonna shout, strutting about, using up all of my bandwidth. Facing this street, starting to beat, signals changing from green to red. Well, it's none of your business, just leave me alone. Don't think you didn't notice it's all about business and none of your own. Well, it's none of your business, just leave me alone. Don't think you didn't notice it's all about business and none of your own. None of your business. None of your business. None of your business. None of my business and none of your own.
Third track, The Only Place You Ever Take Me Is Down.
Well, for me, it's like a Creedence-y sort of riff, but just really revved up. So You know, again, it's very southern, or almost like a southern rock sort of banjo-y thing, Steve Earle maybe, but just really, but heavy and pounding.
I
and
think-
annoyed.
I think
I'm
the
annoyed
drums
again.
really add that
Mhm.
bass with, well, obviously with the bass as well, but that back line, the drums are really pounding out.
Well,
And then there's some bits in the song where you sort of solo, and then when you stop and the drums come back in, it's just phenomenal.
yeah, the arrangement. I spent a lot of time working on these arrangements. You know, I demoed all these songs, recorded them into my phone, wherever I was, playing guitar late at night on tour and things like that, and writing lyrics down. When I compiled them all, I stuck them all on the computer, and I edited them up, and then I took those into a rehearsal studio with my old drummer, with my current drummer. He's not my old drummer. He's been with me a while, Darren. And he was over the moon because he's like, "Oh, you mean I get to play like this?" You know, he loves AC/DC.
He's got that beat going,
fatback thing going on. So we did demos of those, and then I cut them to bits and edited them again. And then we went out on tour and played them loads at sound checks. This one we've been playing quite a lot.
The only place you ever take me is down. You make me wonder why I'll never come around. My temper, man, you own it. I wish to God that you would prove it. It's the only place you ever take me is down. And I give you my decision, but I won't. And I swear it isn't bullshit. It's the only place you ever take me is down. You wake me in the morning, talk to me at night. Why don't you reconsider, woman? You know that it ain't right. You question my decisions and you talk before I'm done. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not sure that you're the one, because the only thing that you ever make it worse. And I'm telling you, man, it's like some kind of curse. So I take to my sick bed, damage pouring out of my head. It's the only place you ever take me is down. Wake me in the morning, talk to me at night. Why don't you reconsider, woman? You know that it ain't right, because the only thing that you ever bring me out tears. The disappointment's pouring out from between my ears. Now it brings on my disease, and it brings me to my knees. You make me wonder why I'll never come around. 'Cause the only place you ever take me is down. Take me down.
track 4, Hammer,
Mm.
kind of changes it.
Yeah, well, if you come and see me play, quite often that's how I would arrange a set list. 3 bangers and then you got to take a breath, Well, I need to take a breath. But Hammer, I think it just kind of, it lets you sit back. It's a very reflective song. It was written by a friend of mine, Paul Dent, and we were in a band together a long time ago called Mother Sugar. And he wrote some fabulous songs, and there's one of them is on my album Jenny's Place. Love Slide is written by him, and Hammer's another one. There's another one called Ships Pass Me By that I might put on my next album. But Hammer really seemed to suit the kind of set of songs I was trying. A beautiful chorus, really beautiful sentiment. All the women that I play it to, they all go, "This is a lovely song."
It is a lovely song. It's a lovely sound and vibe to the when you play it. It just feels really nice.
Yeah, it comes in sweet. I think it's got, for me, it's like a bit of a. It's still quite southern.
It still maintains that heavier edge.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes nuts in the solo.
Sort of a subtle sort of.
Yeah, and it's got like a psychedelic thing going on as well. The. That you're singing a solo, so it's like Dickie Betts maybe, but actually it sort of reminds me of Van Morrison. Some of those kind of Van Morrison things. That kind of early 70s psychedelic optimism rather than the 60s stuff.
Storytelling.
Yeah, it's a good
storytelling musically as well as
well, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm seeking. Yeah, trying to tell you something rather than just look at my hot licks.
Yeah, exactly. I've got a shred now.
Yeah.
Here's my lyrics.
Yeah,
but no, if you can do both and, like say, make the guitar talk, which is an art in itself.
Yeah.
It's getting the soul of the instrument to the public. I think is the thing you need to do, and I think that's what you aspire to do every time you make a record.
Well, the guitar playing sort of picks up where the singing leaves off, So they're supportive, like singing in harmony.
You don't want to disconnect. You want it to flow.
I'm not. Good luck to people who want to show off with their guitars. I'm not. That's not for me.
It has a place.
I want people. It has a place. Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of it about. So that the world doesn't need another one. But I'm trying to tell you some stories. And just create some soundscapes for you to lose yourself in.
I think that's the important thing as well. Like you just said, creating a space and creating an ambience with your music where people can go with it.
Yeah. Come with me and let's have a good time and let's forget about all of that stuff that winds you up and let's maybe you'll come back to real life having been refreshed a bit.
Selfish as hunger, selfish as hunger. There's more to less. I know that you suffer. The hell you've been in. I've watched every moment. I've climbed every wall. What once was so healthy seems certain to fall, fall. I wanna go there, escape the hammer of your love. I wanna breathe there, something I've been thinking of, something I know that I do. I wanna go there, escape the hammer of your love. I wanna breathe there, something I've been thinking of, something I know that I do.
Okay, Tell Jerry. Now, this is another track that people are just going to sit there, listen to the whole thing, and go, wow, what just happened? Now, it's hard to explain. You really have to experience it.
Yeah, well, it's Jerry Reed, man.
Yeah.
You know, Jerry Reed. And if you don't know who Jerry Reed is, you do, because he's Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
So Eastbound and Down is a Jerry Reed song. But he was a funky guitar. He's a great guitar player. If you listen to his, I mean, he's just a ridiculous guitar player. Alabama, there's, you know, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and the Alabama Swamps, and it compared to, like, people talk about Chicago, they talk about Memphis, they talk about New Orleans, they talk about, you know, Nashville, Texas blues, or, you know, the influences of music. But the Alabama sound is really important, and I mean, it does get discussed, but they're funky people down there, you know. So that Tell Jerry was, yeah.
especially when like the drums come in with it,
Yeah.
you've got that real.
Yeah, it goes massive, and it was a demo of the original thing was again just me playing the guitar, and we went did some drums on it, put a bass on, and then we went in the studio, and my intention was to lay it down as and make a song out of it, but we sat down to just work through it, and we press record, and then you get that 4 minutes or whatever it is, and that's a rehearsal take of the groove for the song that we never recorded because they went, holy shit, what did we just do?
Yeah.
And you can hear us laughing at the end. It goes through. There's nothing being changed on that. It just turned up, right? And then the guitar playing and everything is note for note live in the studio. And then I think it's something like, oh, we should have that on in the lift because it's just like,
you can imagine the lift would be like this, so it'd be bouncy, wouldn't it? But it's such a cool song.
yeah, thanks, man.
Have that on in the lift.
I mean, next track is the first track you've actually released, I think, The Loser.
Yeah.
And that's been played on radio in the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? I think you released it to radio.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
it came out on just before my birthday, so the 24th.
And again, it's more of a mid-tempo style, but it's got some amazing bits. And I believe this has got the best lyrics, I think, from any song, or the best line. Is it? Sticks and stones and cannonballs will break my straw house or something.
Well, it's actually bugger up.
Bugger up my straw.
Sticks and stones and cannonballs might bugger up your house of straw.
That's it. It's just an amazing line, and it's one that stuck in my head as soon as the first time I heard it. I thought, hang on, let me rewind that.
Yeah,
because it's just great.
Well, I actually, I wrote that song in Spain, in the beautiful city of Salamanca in Spain. My heart kind of does a little double pump every time I think about that place. It's so beautiful. We were on our first Spanish tour. We had a night off. We were sharing hotel rooms, which is a bit of a drag. But I had this room to myself, and I had my acoustic guitar with me. And I opened, literally, it doesn't happen very often. I opened the case, sat down, wrote a song. In about the length of time it takes to listen to it, put it onto my phone, put the guitar in the case, and then done, and then went and had a siesta. And I knew, even as I was writing it, I was so excited, because I knew I was coming to that line. I had it, so coming through, and I probably changed a couple of words, but sticks and stones and cannonballs will bugger up your house of straw. But if you're standing on your own, under nobody's cruel control, you're free. So it's just about other people's expectations, and if you worry about what other people are thinking, then you've had it.
Just worry about your own self, and
because the only if you think you're a loser, then you're a loser. Yeah. If everybody else calls you a loser and you don't think you're a loser, then you're not. So that's what that song's all about. Actually, it's about me talking to myself, right? Take care of yourself, respect yourself.
It's been getting some rave reviews as well. From people hearing it, obviously, as well. They're loving it. So
I'm proud of that song, actually, and it was a nice way to transition, transitioning being a theme, transition from the Clovis 1, which is all there are 2 guitar solos on there, no distorted electric guitars.
More Americana stuff.
Yeah, kind of coming across, so people that maybe come to me as fans of that record and maybe haven't seen me live will understand that there's a stitch back in it, and it's all about connecting those dots. Some
next track is one that people will probably be familiar with the name, Leviathan. And I know we've talked before and you've mentioned you could release a whole album of Leviathan with different genres.
And I may even still do it.
Because that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Well,
do it. Please do it.
The trouble is, now I have established this concept of transitions, right? And I've basically created my own multiverse. I have to be careful not to just disappear down some like tiny little hole of niche music, but I might still do it. Yeah.
I mean, this particular version on here is different to the Mahogany Drift one, obviously, because that was acoustic and all live, wasn't it? Yeah. This, I took the transition side of it, but on the CD, that transition leads you into the actual song itself on here. So it's really, really cool.
The loser's fading out, and something else which is going on a lot in this album, which is me trying to put a real sense of myself into it, is referencing my childhood in it. So at the end of The Loser, not the single, but the album version, because there's whistling, various whistling throughout The Loser. Roger Whittaker is from Durham, you see, so I'm holding my...
That's your little homage to Roger.
My granddad was a whistler, you know, and my dad, I guess, but mainly my granddad. One of the first musical memories I have is the song Michael Row the Boat Ashore, because of course I do, because it's my name, and my granddad was humorous, you know, so he would always try and say things in a funny way, so you know, Michael Row the Boat Ashore, so that you get a few bars of that whistled, and also when the boat comes in, I think it was a drama in the 70s.
Yeah.
Northumbrian thing, you know. So I'm referencing, and these were the melodies of my childhood, you know, my first musical memories. So I dropped them in.
Just subtly put,
and that's kind of happening. And then you've got like the sounds of the planets moving, and Moog synths and things. And then the drums fade in.
It's a song that every time I hear, regardless of what way it's recorded or how it's played, it just makes the hairs stand up on the back of my neck.
Well, that's very good to hear.
You know, it really does.
Job done.
It's one of those songs that you just, wow.
Well, I mean, it's based around, I wrote it again, and you know I say this doesn't happen very often, but it obviously does, because the more I think about it, the more... Yeah, I wrote this song dead quick again, and I had a tuning, which is, it's actually similar to a tuning that Troy uses, but I didn't know this at the time, but I just came across it as being, I wanted to have something that I could really flail around on the slide, and there'd be no wrong notes. And something that didn't have a major or a minor component, it's all just root and 5. So there's just, for all the guitar players in the audience, so it's E, B, B, E, 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 no, E, B, B, E, B, E. So it's like an open E tuning, but you bring this one up to a B as well. And I wrote it like that. Can me in the morning, like a man, shout screams this impossible dream, dawning on my blue eyes. So like country blues, Book of White or something. Yeah. And then there's a little Dr. John reference in the middle.
So we're lucky we get another version of that.
Yeah, but you know, as we said, I mean, you know, I can also hear it like came me in the morning, like a tumbler, and I shouted, I screamed, is this impossible? Turning on my blue eyes to red. You know, and so on and so on.
You could just imagine sitting on the back porch.
You could do it in a soul style, you know. Hip like a thunderhead, the shine is as impossible, and it's turning on my blue eyes.
Unforgiven, which is, I guess, homage to the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't written that way actually. The working title of that song was A Major Strummer. It's in the key of A major, and it was majorly strummed because. It had a vocal, and when we recorded it, the idea of putting the harmony guitars on, that wasn't even a thing. We just recorded it with an acoustic guitar and the drums. And it was only later when I was thinking about things that I could do to put a collaboration together with my late friend Jules Fothergill, who is also a huge Allman Brothers fan. I thought, well, we could do a version of it and because the melody was unforgiven. And then I found the other
guitar,
one. And then it really took on its own thing. So it has got an Allman Brothers. There's no unmistakable Allman Brothers feel about it. I mean, the thing is with me and the Allman Brothers, you know, I went to see the Allmans when I was 16 in Manchester, and my life has never been the same. You know, I was 16 years old. I was jammed at the front of the International 2 in Manchester. It got moved from a bigger venue to this smaller venue. I think it was supposed to be at the Apollo, or I can't remember. But anyway, it was, but they hadn't reduced the ticket sales, so it was way over capacity in the early 90s. Absolutely rammed. Me and my friend, who was also a teenager, and his dad, who was a music fan, and I was jammed like that, right there in front of Dickie Betts with his gold top, you know. The whole show just like 16 inches away from him or something. It gave me I'm looking around to see if I can see it. Somewhere in this room there's a copy of the Allman Brothers CD, and inside that CD is a plectrum that he went like this, he went and handed it me. They did 2.5 hours playing, and then he went off, and then he came back on, did an encores, another half hour, 2 songs, you know, Jessica and Whipping Post with the encores, for God's sake. So, you know, and it just ruined me, really. You know, I just give
you something to aspire to, though.
Well, it just became all about the Allman Brothers, and it's never really stopped. So Unforgiven became that. There are 2 versions on the CD. The bonus track 11, is how I originally heard Unforgiven, which is more like the Who, actually. You know, I mean, I'm conscious. I'm not just ripping these people off. They're not all homages, but if you're looking for a reference on the tone, then that one has all these stacked vocals and has synthesizers.
The style would remind people.
It's more like the inspirational. But this one really took on its whole life, and then you get the guitars and you know, guitar playing that I like to do. Again, we said before about how I never really thought I could get away with that, but I got away with it.
Okay, penultimate track, Don't Say a Word.
I think it's the same guy that I'm singing about in None of Your Business. You know, don't say a word. I've had enough. I'm sick of hearing about it. And you know, whatever analogy you want to put on that, but it's the same dude. And but the guitars on there again, you know, wanting to put these extra detail into the guitars that I've never let myself get away with before. I wanted to have the slide thing, sort of the Dickie Betts, Dwayne Allman thing. Where are we? What key are in? That. Just keep your mouth shut and don't say a word. It's all been broken that you never learn. And it's I guess it's probably more ZZ Top inspired than anything.
Bit of
else.
Texas blues.
Texas blues, yeah, you know. But it's got a big chorus. I mean, got a letter this morning, which does really sound
really
like
does,
ZZ
yeah, the
Top.
chorus does go.
Yeah, and then, you know, and then just a guitar conversation, two guitars having a good time playing with each other. There's also a nice bit in that song which breaks down. It's after the first chorus. You get 4 bars without the drums, and the guitars are really distorted. And then there's another little childhood reference there. My mum's dad, my granddad Jim, he was actually a comedian. He was a singer and a comedian in the working men's clubs. He had this, amongst other things, humorous little things. He had the laughing box. I don't know if you remember those. Laughing bag.
Yeah.
Laughing bag.
Any joke shop.
Yeah, and it was in that bag, a little pink plastic thing made in Hong Kong. And you pressed the front and it went really tin mechanical laughter. Well, I sampled one of them and I chucked it in there. It's just as a sort of, well, I said, love my granddad Jim, so I popped that in there. And then he gets in at the end. So all his guitars are going on, and then there's just some little like canned voice just giggling in the background. Because I'm still, when it comes to playing cool guitar like that and just getting these good licks in, you know, I'm still like a complete child. You know, I love it.
Kid in the candy still.
Yeah.
Just keep your mouth shut and don't say a word. It's all been
So we come to the end of this with a track called Shoot You If You Run. Now, again, it's another fabulous transitioning song, I guess you'd call it, to end it. And it's...
well, out of the ashes of the kind of intentional falling down a cliff sound of the end of Don't Say a Word, where the guitars are kind of clashing, the organ stops, the vocals keep going, it's all like you've just chucked a load of musicians down the stairs. You get this feedback, and it comes up, and it comes in Shoot You If You Run, and then it's an angry song, and it has a really weird. It sort of reminds me of like Alice in Chains or something like that. You know, early 90s. I was into all that music at the time, and there's a bit, and I'm going to see if I can do it without being too So it has like an out of time bit, and it's supposed to be unsettling, you know. And then the lyric there it's based around a political thing, and it's non-specific, you know, left or right. It's about propaganda and about lies. So you're looking back on a planet that's just been
torn apart, basically.
by people that prize money above anything else.
I mean, when I listened to it, I said to you, I think you earlier, that there's an underlying chatter.
Yeah, there
certainly
is.
Near the end.
Well, you see, it's propaganda, and by which I mean anything that comes out of the right-wing controlled media or the left-wing controlled media. It's propaganda. It's people persuading you in a sneaky, underhand kind of a way to adopt, you know, opinions that you wouldn't do if you were in possession of all of the facts. And so that's what that song's about. And it's a bit like sort of Bon Scott singing with Neil Young playing the guitar. And then so the voice that comes in is Lord Haw Haw. And he was an English guy, or in fact it was supposed to be several different English people who were quislings. You know, they went to Germany, worked on behalf of the Nazis during the Second World War. And Lord Haw Haw, you had this Germany calling, and they would broadcast it to England. It was all propaganda. All of these incredible just lies, you know, and I know we were doing it as well, by the way. And that's kind of the point. But he would broadcast over. And basically they were so outrageous, the claims were so outrageous that you just switch off. And, you know, there's a certain orange arsehole who's like...
doesn't need to be named.
He lives in a big white house on the east coast of America, and he's excellent at this. You know, so much flannel being chucked out at all times that you don't know what's real and what's not, and you don't care anymore because you're sick of hearing it. So that's my little reference to that. So Lord Haw Haw makes an appearance at the end of that song before the solo, and then you don't hear him anymore on the digital release, but on the album release there's like a further 6 minutes at the end of the song of this, and actually it's not about what he's saying, because he's talking about German.
It's just noise.
Yeah. It's not, and it's intentionally just at the threshold of being understood. And then over here, actually sitting right here, playing through whatever this gear, is me kind of playing out how sad that makes me. That there is a world where you get relentlessly pitched to by liars in support of causes that are not in your best interest. So that's what I'm talking about, you know. It doesn't matter whether it's globalist agenda, whether it's socialist, if it's right-wing, you know, isolationist, whatever it is, that when that poisonous rhetoric gets chucked into you that way, it's just sad, man. It's just sad.
But this particular album, although it's, I suppose you'd call it an angry album,
It's emotional, isn't it? It's
yeah,
frustration, I think.
yeah,
Is the
frustration.
one
Yeah,
I
that's probably a
pull out
better word.
the most.
Frustration.
There's a lot of frustration around, and I'm trying to reflect that without telling you what to do, because who likes to be told what to do? What I've tried to do is I've tried to give people a means to access this music to maybe vent some of their own frustration. I'm trying to reflect emotions.
I think from a musical point of view, this album from start to finish is phenomenal. And when somebody listens to this, there are so many different parts that make up this transitional album.
There's a disproportionate number of the songs on this album are in the key of A. That's unusual for me. There are also two or three of them in B. But what it allowed me to do is create a whole piece of music, which is Dystopia Rising. That came about as me sitting with that synth over there plugged into that oscillator up there, plugged into this lot, and then just making like cartoon noises for half an hour, and then I built it. And the idea was I was going to, I wanted to create a companion piece of music that would only sit underneath and provide these transitions that we talk about.
Yeah.
These like kind of weird space whale noises. Well, with the lockdown coming out, I actually released Dystopia Rising as a separate thing, but for the Clovis 2, I stripped it back a bit and then put it in its original form.
I think it works really, really well.
Well, see, I wanted to find a narrative that allowed people to understand what this album was. So I'm going to build a universe, and I'm going to invite you in, and I'm going to show you how I coalesce. It's important to me that people understand where I'm coming from, and I really want people to connect with it,
I think
and so that it's not about the guitar playing, it's not about the singing, it's not about the songwriting, it's about the presentation of the whole, and that's where I am as an artist right now.
I mean, I think this particular album, I've listened to it many times. It's a journey. Lock yourself away for an hour. Take yourself away from all the crap going on.
It's only an hour.
1 hour of your life. Like you say with the transitions, this almost spiritual Star Trek, if you like.
Yeah. So in None of Your Business, you get two, because it's me, you get two verses and choruses that are bang on, dead fast, like full of dead shit, and then suddenly we've gone to church, and suddenly it's... And we've gone somewhere else, and it's all floaty, time signature changes. And when things like that happen, it's because I want to go like this. I'm like floating in the universe. Who doesn't want to fly? Who doesn't want to fly? And I do. I certainly want to fly. So if I can create something that gives somebody that experience,
that feeling,
then that's what that is.
Well, I love it. I've made no bones about that from the moment I first heard it. I think I was messaging you, I love this song, love this track. It's already, and it's not even released till the end of October, right up there this year with album of the year for me personally. And I've heard a lot of music, as you know. I've reviewed a lot of albums, but I think this album to me is complete. It's a complete album from start to finish, which is very rare these days.